All right, hello everyone. This is Noah, and this is this is the first episode of the Panel Slam podcast, where I will be talking about comic books. With me today, I have a friend of mine who goes by GameThon.
Yep, hello everyone. This is actually our second time recording this podcast because Noah forgot to record the entirety of the first version.
Yeah, it's quite the unfortunate story, actually. It's a real shame, if you will. The original take was so good. I don't know how we're ever going to be able to top this, but I guess we'll just have to try. So today, I wanted to start things off with kind of an interesting topic. So I kind of came up with a different list of just various topics to cover, and I think a good one to start off with would be characters with interesting origin stories in comic books.
I
So
agree.
yeah, so when you think about origin stories, you think about like a lot of the standard ones, like you have Batman, his parents get killed, Superman, Krypton explodes, and all that. But there's just a bunch of
Spider-Man gets bit by a spider.
oh, I didn't know that. Is that how he got his powers?
No, actually, he actually got ran over by a spider. He was.
A giant monster spider.
I accidentally muted myself halfway through that. That was the greatest joke, and now you'll never hear it.
Oh, well, I'm sure it was great for what it's worth. But
Thank you.
but yeah, so today we're going to be talking about the lesser known origin stories, or just the ones that are kind of strange or just cool, if you will. So, Game Thon,
Radical.
yeah, when you think of interesting not superhero, but it could just be any comic book character. When you think of interesting comic book character origin stories, what's one of the characters that comes to mind?
Okay, well, out of the blue, Booster Gold. I absolutely love his origin story.
Yeah, Booster Gold's got a really cool one. The whole thing with him being from the future and he wants to be a superhero and stuff.
Yeah. I really do love the fact that he worked at the museum with all the superhero stuff, and he just randomly decides to, I want to be superhero, so I'm going to commit a felony.
Yeah, he's gonna. Plus, he gets like in a bunch of trouble from the fact that he time traveled and all that.
Oh, for real, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
He's crazy.
yeah, it's Booster Gold's super cool because he kind of ties into a character. I'll mention this character next. We'll talk about Booster Gold first, but he actually has a very similar origin story to one of my favorite villains in DC Comics, who
Oh,
he- yeah, it's I just kind of recently realized that they almost have the exact same origin story, but slightly different. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But yeah, Booster Gold is just really cool because he's just a guy that likes superheroes and he wants to be one, but he's actually a loser. So he just
you know, I think it's funny that he committed at least two crimes: breaking and entering and identity theft.
all that just so he can become a hero. It's unrelated, but I just really like Booster Gold in Blue Beetle.
For real, he's such a blue. Him and Blue Beetle have the best dynamic out of any duo character.
Yeah, that I think it was Justice League International when they first like interacted and stuff. When they had the weird team of Justice League, where it was like Guy Gardner and Captain Atom and like Captain Marvel, and then those two. But just ever since that, I've always just loved the two of them together. They have such an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, Blue Beetle himself just also has a pretty interesting history, but I'm not gonna dwell on that.
Yeah, no, I guess just kind of going into it, I think the idea of Ted Cord, his origin story, is funny because he got the
Oh yeah.
scarab from Dan Garrett or whoever the first Blue Beetle is, and he just couldn't get it to work. So he just goes out of his way to make a giant blue beetle. Like he makes a giant beetle themed like plane. And the thing I find hilarious about that is he didn't even really have to be a beetle themed superhero because he couldn't get the scarab to work. So he just out of anything, he chose to base his superhero identity off of like the thing he couldn't get to work.
Yeah,
But
it's so funny.
yeah, no, I love Ted Cord. I don't think Ted Cord gets nearly enough attention.
Yeah, I feel like he's overshadowed by Jaime.
And I like Jaime, don't get me wrong, but I've just like I grew up reading Ted Cord and I read a lot of Jaime too, but he's just him and Booster Gold, even since I was like a little kid, I've always just loved the two of them. They have such a great dynamic together.
For real, they really do.
It's like the third time we've mentioned that, but it's it's seriously just like one of the main core elements of the character.
Exactly. Booster Gold is just a very amazing character to be around.
He's got a nice blend. The thing I like about him is that he's a comic relief character, but he's serious like when he actually needs to be. Because I think there's like one panel, I don't even remember what story it is, but it's like he thinks that like all of his Justice League team is like dead, and he just like is just super emotional about it, and he like blames himself for like not taking it seriously enough. He's like a
Yeah,
super complex character.
yeah, I agree. He's like the perfect balance of seriousness and comedy.
He's kind of what I wish Deadpool would go back to being because
Exactly. That's exactly what I was about to say. I
yeah,
feel like most characters like Deadpool have just gone derailed so hard.
Booster Gold walks the fine line between being a joke character and being like an actually like well written character, and I feel that shouldn't be a fine line because I feel like it's not something hard to do. Like for instance, I think not Daredevil. I think Daredevil is like an anti-joke character. But it's like saying Batman is the comic relief of the Justice League. But uh, like early 2000s, like mid 90s Deadpool was like I think he walked that line until they just made him all funny and like no
Yeah.
substance at
I
all.
think even Marvel themselves have took shot at modern Deadpool with the Gwenpool series.
Yeah, and it's just like I like Deadpool, but I'm kind of getting tired of him being funny, which is why yeah, which is why Booster Gold's just such like he's still like such a refreshing character though because he's just he's funny, but he's serious too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. He's just a great character and deserves to be in more media.
he does. I'm honestly with all the movies that DC's been pumping out, actually now that I think about it, I think they did have like a Booster Gold movie in the works, but it got like scrapped or something. I could have sworn I
Ah,
remembered hearing about that.
oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
I feel like out of all the DC characters, Booster Gold would be the easiest to make a movie about.
Yeah. I feel like it's easier to make a movie about him than Zatanna
Oh, for real.
because like if you go up to like a random person on the street, I feel like more people would know who Booster Gold is than Zatanna.
Yeah, and I feel like with they could easily make a Booster Gold movie with the same vibe as like the first Shazam.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Because like you don't really need the Justice League for the because Booster Gold could hear about the Justice League and then be inspired by them, but you don't actually have to have the Justice League in the movie.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. But yeah, just I guess in summary, Booster Gold, he's just we got derailed from just talking about his origin, but he's like super underrated. If you have not like checked out a Booster Gold comic, I would definitely recommend it.
For realsy.
I think they're like right now there's like they're writing a series where it's Ted Kord and Booster Gold, so you should like I don't know when
Oh,
that
really?
comes. Yeah, I remembered seeing it on DC's Twitter a while ago, so I'm definitely gonna pick that up when it drops.
Same.
Yeah. But earlier when I was saying that Booster Gold actually had like a really similar origin story to one of my favorite villains in DC, he was actually on my list too before I even knew that you had Booster Gold in the list. Reverse
Ah,
Flash.
oh, dude, Reverse Flash. Oh
So yeah,
man.
just for comparison, Reverse Flash's origin, he's from the future. He's a big fan of the Flash. Like he would go to the Flash museum and stuff. And he wanted to be exactly like his hero, the Flash. So he goes back in time, but like that's kind of where it differentiates because then he's like, "Oh, well, I'm sworn to be the Flash's main enemy." So like he kind of just goes insane. But I just think there's kind of a lot of parallels between him and Booster Gold.
I just like to point out that in the DC universe, in the future, there's not only a superhero museum, but there's also a museum dedicated to the Flash.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the Flash is like massive. It's like
Yeah.
I'd imagine the superhero museum is where you get all like the D-list characters like Bawana Beast. I don't think Bawana Beast gets his own museum if I'm being honest. It doesn't have the same like selling point. Like you can't sell tickets to a Bawana Beast museum the same way you can sell tickets to a museum about the Flash.
I agree 100%.
But yeah, it's just like I really like the Reverse Flash, especially like he ties into the Flash's origin with him killing his mom and all that.
Oh yeah.
And I think that the Flash's origin story is just one of my personal like favorites of like big comic book characters, just because it's like so interesting with his like
Yeah, I think Thawne is just one of those evil characters that does evil things for just the pure malice of it, and I think that's really that's something different than most villains.
yeah, he like they don't really try to make him sympathetic, which is nice.
Yeah,
It's
he literally kills the Flash's mom. Like you just can't come back from that.
yeah, no, and it's I just he's got a super cool origin. He ties into one of like the coolest origin stories of like the main DC characters, and it's just like he's just on top of that. We said we were talking about Booster Gold. He's also just a super interesting character to boot.
Exactly.
He's I think he was like really popularized by the Flash TV show. Like he was obviously
Oh
like, a
yeah.
popular character before then, but I remember when that first season came out, he just exploded into like mainstream popularity.
Yeah, personally, I've never watched the Flash TV show, but my introduction to the character, I think it was late night, and I was watching the Flashpoint movie.
Oh, the
Yeah, the
animated one.
animated one. Yeah,
Yeah, that one's good. I like that movie a lot.
I remember I was scared after I saw the scene where Barry found out his mom died. That really hit me.
You were just afraid that was gonna happen.
Yeah, I was afraid that was gonna happen to me.
Like evil future Game Thon is gonna run back in time and
Reverse Game Thon.
reverse Game Thon. Uh, but yeah, no, it's just I didn't even realize this until like a few weeks ago when I don't even remember why I was thinking about it, but I just find it really hilarious that there's two DC characters whose origin story involves them being from like the future, and they go to a museum and they're like big fans of superheroes.
Yeah, and there's also Zoom, right? Isn't Zoom is just the second Reverse Flash?
Yeah, I don't know like nearly as much about Zoom because I didn't read a lot of like Wally West stuff as a kid because I was always a
Ah,
Barry Allen guy, and Zoom was just like he was pretty much made to be Wally West's reverse Flash.
Reverse West.
Yeah, yeah, but I I don't know. I
Yeah,
just
that's fair. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about Zoom. I know that he was also in the Flash series.
yeah,
I
he was
gotta
the
come
he was the villain of the
over.
second season. There was like a they pretty much did the same plot twist twice in
Oh
seasons
my
one and
god.
two, where it was like the main like person who's helping Barry is like the twist villain.
Oh
Because
my
like in
god.
season one it was like the he's not even a comic book character, but he was an original character. Harrison Wells. He ended up being Eobard Thawne, and he was like body swapped with the guy, and was basically he was just trying to increase Barry's speed so he could get back to his own time. And
Ah,
then in
okay.
season two, this is like I actually hated this twist when I first watched the show. They introduced Jay Garrick in the first episode, and in like the
Oh.
the fourth to last episode of the season, it's revealed that like Jay Garrick was actually like Zoom, but he wasn't actually Jay Garrick.
Oh my god.
And it was like, oh man, it was just because I love Jay Garrick. I'm a huge fan of like a lot of the Golden Age guys, and it was just like, oh, it just broke my heart because they're like, no, you made like literally the one of the most important characters in the Flash mythos a twist villain, even though it wasn't actually him, but still.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds horrible. But
Yeah.
doesn't Jay Garrick appear later,
Yeah,
or is
no,
it?
it's
Oh, okay.
there's like it wasn't actually Jay Garrick. It was Hunter Zolomon who was Zoom. He was like pretending to be Jay Garrick.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, we keep getting sidetracked, but that's fine because it's just
Yeah, that's the whole
they're
point.
they're here to listen to
We're
us
supposed
talk
to be
about
nerds.
comic books. They're not gonna click away from us talking about comic books.
For real.
But
God, the whole Flash series just looks like a mess right now, though.
oh my! I was watching some clips from season 7, and it just looks like 2000s Power Rangers special effects.
Oh, dude, honestly, like when I saw that lightsaber fight,
Oh,
I flipped my shit. I was so confused.
I was looking at I was just watching, like I said, I was watching some clips, and Godspeed is like one of the main villains for this season. And,
Oh, Godspeed, that's who he was.
yeah, and he just like he literally has like the super fast like, oh, I am going to beat you, I am so fast, and he just talks like really fast and in a weird voice. It's so stupid.
No, and I saw this other clip. They look like that one Linkara gif where he's just running really fast.
Oh, the one where he's like running really fast into. Oh yeah, okay, I know what you're talking about.
That one fucking Linkara gif. I think Linkara himself hates that gif.
Oh,
It's so funny.
It's so funny, yeah. And it's just so weird because the budget has only gone up, but I do not understand why the special effects have gotten worse. It's just very strange. But yeah, the Reverse Flash, he's got a really cool origin story, at least in my opinion. If not cool, it's just, kind of interesting because it's a.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Reverse Flash is probably one of like the most interesting villains. I
Mhm.
mean, I guess not interesting, just kind of different.
Yeah, like I'm gonna sound like an idiot for saying this, but I've never really seen the Reverse Flash as like Barry's nemesis. For me, it's always been Captain Cold. But
Oh yeah, same.
but like I can totally get where people are coming from, where they say that Reverse Flash is their favorite Flash villain.
I feel like Reverse Flash is a good opponent, but I feel like he's not a nemesis, even though that's what he's trying to be. I feel like saying that Reverse Flash is the Flash's nemesis is literally just letting him win.
Yeah, yeah, I kind of feel the same way. But moving on from Reverse Flash, who's like another character that comes to mind when you think about interesting origins?
Oh yeah, I forgot we were doing that. So I wanted my list to be just completely diverse, and
Uh-huh.
so I picked this random character that just has the absolute most bonker and just it didn't age well type type origin, and I'm gonna talk about the Mandrill from
Oh,
Marvel.
that is like one of the most niche characters you could have picked.
Yeah, and his origin is just absolutely bonkers.
It's so funny that like
So
it's not funny, but it's just like how
so
horribly
with
it's aged.
it's literally the most horrible thing they could have come up with.
So yes,
So the Mandrill, before he was, even conceived. What were you gonna say?
no, I was just gonna say, could you tell the amazing story of the Mandrill's origin?
Oh yes, I gladly. Even his father worked plan something, and he just randomly he was like, "I want a kid," and so he started being conceived at the plant, and then just a nuclear explosion, and it plagues all of the women inside of the fucking plant. I don't know why it was specifically the women is. And so he's born, and he just so happens to have dark skin, and yeah, this is where the stuff happens.
Yeah.
He's abandoned by his parents.
It's,
Just back in like the '60s, and I don't even remember why he turns into the Mandrill. He just starts growing hair, and he just turns into a fucking Mandrill.
it's just one of those things where it's the
This character is so weird.
it's so weird. It's just it's got that perfect balance of '60s like low key racism with with just like the weird out of left
Low-key.
field. Yeah, low key. I guess not very low key in this case, but it's that combined with just this very just strange out of left field things that happen to him that cause him to become a supervillain.
And his powers are even weirder because due to the plague that plagued all the women specifically, his powers are are literally to just change the hormones of men because gay people. God, it's so strange.
It's
Like
so weird.
what were they smoking?
I don't know. There's a lot
I
of
think
just
okay,
like
he was in the
he was in the what?
yeah, no, I was just gonna say he was in the Avengers cartoon. I was rewatching that when I
Oh
saw
wait,
Man
the Fox one?
use the fucking horn powers. I lost my shit.
Oh my god.
No, no. What was it called? Earth Space Heroes.
Oh, Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Yeah, he was in that.
When I saw him use the fucking hormone powers, it was so
It's
weird.
so weird cuz like just
Versus
think
something
when you think about
more.
characters with hormone powers, like the first one that comes to mind is like Poison Ivy. And then it's Spider Woman. And then you have like both of those are like very attractive women, and then you just have a monkey.
Use the fucking mandrill.
Yeah, if my dog is barking right now.
God, man.
He's
Yeah, they are.
But you talking about that just made me realize how many like monkey villains there are in just like Marvel and DC. Because you got Mandrill, you got Gorilla Grodd, you got the Ultra Humanite, you got like Red Ghost, the Fantastic Four villain who just like commands a bunch of monkeys.
Yeah.
And just like
Yeah, fucking DC has Gorilla City.
yeah, just literally a bunch of sentient gorillas. There was this weird story from like 2015, I think it was, where Gorilla Grodd got the Speed Force, and it was just the funniest thing ever.
Okay, I think I know the reason why there's so many monkey villains. I think it was like around the 50s. Like both DC and Marvel found out that comics with like a monkey on the cover sold more better than comics without one. So they were like, we got to pump out as many monkey characters as we
You know
can. We
what?
got to take advantage of the
You know what?
market.
That would actually make sense because Ultra Humanite was like a huge Superman villain back in the day, and like he was a human before, but then he like put his brain in the body of a monkey, and it's just like for no reason other than just like to gotta get the monkey views. It's
Yeah,
it's
man.
wild. It's yeah, Mandrill is just kind
God.
of one of those weird characters. He's like a Spider-Man villain, but like he just fights anyone because like no one knows him for being a Spider-Man villain, just because no one knows him at all.
And I think just no canonically in the universe, everybody sees him, they're like, oh man, not this guy again.
Yeah, not the Mandrill. It's yeah, Mandrill is just he has not aged well. Someone
How do we even transition from that?
I don't know. It's
For real.
because I don't have any like characters off the top of my head that we can just transition to from Mandrill. So how about you? Who's next on your list?
Alright, well, let's not transition. Let's immediately gamers.
What'd you say?
I just we're just gonna go to Transformers now.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so one of my favorite characters does not get enough. I think he's just a very cool character. And his origin, honestly, just love his origin because it's funny.
Mm-hmm.
But to understand his origin, and you have to understand the origin of Optimus Prime because it ties into him. So when Ultra Magnus got introduced in film, 1986
yeah,
one,
in the animated
he was
movie.
just some random guy. He didn't have an introduction. Just in the animated series in general.
Hold on, just a second. You are like cutting out
Characters
like
did not
crazy.
hold. Oh, okay. Yeah, let me. Is that better?
Oh, that's much better. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I just
Okay, so yeah, in the it's whatever. So yeah, it's in the Optimus Prime series, he's on the Matrix leadership, which is just like a big MacGuffin of the entire series.
Mm-hmm.
His origins are pretty cool. He was this one guy called Orion Pax, and one day he was just like, when the Decepticons were like, "Ooh, we want to do this," you can't do that. Then Megatron shot him and died.
I remember when I first read Optimus
Okay,
Prime's origin story. It's like, wow, this guy was a loser because he's just like, didn't he
he
work as
really is.
didn't he work as like a cargo loader or something?
No, yeah, and that ties into Ultra Magnus's origin. So he had his best friend was called Dion, I think, either Dion or Dion. I don't know. And so after Optimus arrived, I think Megatron killed Dion next to him as well. So and then we're fuck, I can't remember. He rebuilt Orion Pax to become Optimus Prime
Yeah,
Matrix.
some weird shaman
And like
guy
then
living in
Ultra's like 20 in the Dreamwave comic one.
the.
Man, he's crazy.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, so Ultra Magnus was finally given an origin story years later in the now defunct Dreamwave comics. Yeah, it's still informative for doing so. Or Ultra Magnus, they introduced this other character called Magnum, and he
uh-huh.
pretty much looked exactly like Ultra Magnus except more scrawnier. And
Yeah.
he was killed by Megatron as well. So then there's this big cliffhanger. They never resolved this because the company went out of business. But he had okay, so Optimus had to choose between his best friend or just some random guy who just so happened to look like Ultra Magnus. So now it's a mystery whether the person who became Ultra Magnus was Dion or Magnum, and I think that's just crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope that Optimus Prime would save his friend, but
Yeah, yeah, it's so. I think they try to make it more of like a more fair choice. I think Dion was just Magnum was beyond repair,
yeah,
whereas Dion was just kind of just shot. I think that's what they said,
that was kind of the
and they
train of
never
thought.
resolved it because the company went out of business.
Huh,
And I think that's so funny
it is pretty funny.
because now we'll never know.
Yeah,
And yeah, I just wanted to share the crazy story.
that is pretty weird. Like, my knowledge of Transformers is nowhere near my knowledge of like Marvel and DC stuff, but like I know like most of the basic information. But that's just like so funny that there's just we still don't really know who he is.
Yeah, God, it's even more weirder in Japan because Dreamwave didn't. The Dreamwave comics were never translated to Japanese. So in Japan, they had this whole other series where Ultra Magnus was just Optimus Prime's brother.
Yeah,
And
like
I
that.
think
that
underneath his armor, he was just white Optimus Prime.
yeah, no, because I know like wasn't the original toy for Ultra Magnus just like a straight up repaint of Optimus Prime?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that's right. I remember hearing that somewhere once.
Yeah, the new Ultra Magnus that IDW came up with isn't actually his own character. It's more like how superheroes have different mantles.
Yeah,
That's how Ultra Magnus
kind
is.
of like how there's different Iron Fists or like different Black Panthers and stuff.
Yeah, so every single time one of the Ultra Magnuses died, they would just take on the armor,
Huh.
pretty much.
Yeah, that's weird.
I think that's less cool, but I like the Ultra Magnus in the IDW comics. I think he's awesome.
That's still like the like Ultra Magnus is just such a weird character to have like be like a passed down like thing because Ultra Magnus is like a C-list Transformer character.
Yeah, he is nowadays. I think like they try to make him such an A-list character immediately in his first appearance, but like after that, there's just nothing they could really do. It's like when a new character takes on the mantle of like Batman,
Yeah, no,
you know.
it's kind of like the whole thing where it's like people get mad about Riri Williams becoming Iron Man because like she's like a new girl character or whatever.
Yeah, it's like that, except he didn't even become like the next Prime because he was killed in the movie.
That's so weird that they introduced him just for him to not become the Prime. But
Yeah, no, they introduced Hot Rod and he became Rodimus Prime.
yeah, because didn't uh it's been forever since I've watched that movie. Didn't Ultra Magnus get the Matrix for a little bit, but he like couldn't use it or something?
Yeah, no, he was like, open, damn it, open. And then the Decepticons just blew him to shreds.
Oh my
They repeated
gosh.
in the next scene, I think, but it's just like, it's the biggest what the fuck moment in the series.
It's yeah, that's just pour one out for our boy. I was it the Transformers animated. That's the version of Ultra Magnus that I grew up with, where he was like Optimus Prime's boss. Wait, no,
Oh,
no, that was
yeah, no,
Sentinel
okay,
Prime.
so
Sentinel
even,
Prime was the boss, but like Ultra Magnus worked for Sentinel
oh, no,
Prime.
yeah, no, no, oh, no, 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 that was, you're right, Ultra Magnus was like the head of everything.
Oh, okay, so I had them switch. Sentinel worked for Ultra Magnus.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
Sentinel was just a dick in that.
Yeah, no, I didn't
Ultra
like Sentinel.
Magnus, though, even in that series, like, he was just completely disrespected.
Yeah, and
God,
that's
it's so funny, dude. It's so funny because so I think in the finale, Shockwave, who was working as a spy, I think is implied to have murdered him, but we won't know because animated didn't get renewed for that
oh,
fourth
I
season.
miss animated. I loved that show so much as a
Dude,
kid.
that was such a good show. So now we're left. So now we'll never know if Ultra Magnus died or not,
It's
and
I
it's
remember I like
so
almost I remember
so
when I was a
funny.
kid I almost cried when they killed off Prowl.
Oh yeah, no, Prowl's death was just that was so sad. I love Prowl.
I like animated Prowl more than like G1 Prowl where he's just like an ambulance.
That's
No, he's like a
fair.
cop car, I think.
Yeah, I there's interesting things they can do with G1 Prowl, but I think animated Prowl just got
He's
it's just a more
I
interesting
think he's just
character.
such a yeah, he's like that different character and stuff. It is almost like he's just Prowl in name alone because he doesn't even look anything like G1 Prowl.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing with like most Transformers characters, especially around like the early 2000s.
Yeah.
The only character that could stay consistent was Optimus Prime because
He's the poster
he had
boy.
top billing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy because Bumblebee is such a big part of the brand, but there was just a era where he just did not appear in anything.
Yeah, no, I like G1 Bumblebee was just like hardly in anything. It's crazy.
Yeah, and then Bumblebee didn't appear for the Unicron trilogy, which was the
Oh,
big
that's
thing
right, he
before the movies
didn't.
came out. Yeah, he was replaced with Hotshot, and then after Bumblebee became such a popular character, Hotshot kind of just became like a punching bag for this for the series. It's kind of sad.
It's kind of like what Cliff Jumper, like what people say Cliff Jumper is now.
Yeah, no, with the thing with Cliff Jumper is he's not that bad. It's just like most of the modern interpretations of him keep killing him off.
Yeah, no, that's the thing.
It's
Like,
so
there's
sad.
that. It's just the running joke that because didn't he died in the Bumblebee movie in like the first 5 minutes of it.
Yeah, he
He
was
died.
killed in the first episode of Prime.
I was about to say I think he was killed in Prime. What else did he die in?
I know he's died quite a lot.
Yeah,
There's a lot of stuff that's happened to this guy.
yeah, it's kind of weird. Um,
But Hotshot is like that, except he doesn't die. He just keeps getting dunked on.
he's just like the punching bag.
Yeah, he's like a punching bag because he doesn't appear in that many stories. But in the stories that he does, he's just kind of disrespected because they call him inferior Bumblebee and stuff like that. It's so sad.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah. Oh wow, we got absolutely sidelined.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think I'm gonna move on to my next pick. This is like probably one of the most mainstream characters who's on my set of lists, and it's Jason Todd, Red Hood. And
Yeah, his
so
origin is.
so when I'm talking
Ooh.
about Red Hood's origin, I'm not talking about like the new version where it's like he gets brought back through the Lazarus pit. I'm talking about like the 2000 and like 2011, 2012, whatever it was, the original like explanation for how he was alive. And I have
Oh.
tried multiple times to explain this to like my non-comic book friends how they originally revived Jason Todd, and it is just so like I am convinced whoever came up with this explanation was just like on something when they were making the storyboard. So for those of you who
Yeah.
don't know, there's this character called Superboy Prime, and he's like just basically Superman but ridiculously OP. He like Superman didn't stand a chance against him. He's just like kryptonite.
Superman Ultra Instinct.
He literally is. He's just he's what like Superman fans claim Superman is because he's like immune to kryptonite. He just can't get hurt. He like tore through the entire Justice League, all the Titans. He like destroyed the Green Lantern Corps, which are like really
Oh my
powerful. But basically, what like the explanation for the original Red Hood origin story is. For those of you who don't know, Jason Todd, he was the second Robin, and he was not very popular because people thought he was just like an asshole, and so there was a story called "Death in the Family," where it was Joker kidnapped Robin, and he was beating him up with a crowbar, and then like the last page of the comic was like, "Your call can save Jason Todd's life," and it's like if they if it was like a vote thing, you could either vote to let Jason live or let him die. And because people,
Wasn't it recently revealed that somebody rigged it? Like somebody just called it so many times on like different phones and
I
stuff
don't
because
know
they
if it was
hated Jason
revealed that
Todd that much.
I don't know if it was rigged, but I do think that it was like the intention of the writers to no matter what kill Jason Todd, because like sales for Batman
Okay.
were like horrible around the time of Jason Todd, and
Oh man.
it was but though like a few although like I believed that genuinely until like around 6 months ago because like someone actually found like the panels um for like what it like the scrapped panels for if Jason Todd would have lived, and it's almost like the exact same thing except like Batman's like smiling and like he's got tears of joy and he's like hugging Jason Todd and he's like
Oh yeah.
it's like the panel where he says he's dead but it's like he's alive and he's like you can see how happy Batman is.
That's
But
a good panel. I like
oh,
that.
I love seeing Batman happy. But yeah, so anyways, in case you couldn't tell from that last little derailing of the conversation, Jason Todd did not survive the contest, and Joker inevitably killed him. And he stayed dead for like a good 25 years until they brought him back in the Under the Red Hood story. And the origin for how he came back it's ridiculous. So
It's bonkers.
it's
Yeah,
bonkers.
it's just
So when Superboy Prime was like destroying the the DC universe, he punched a hole.
Superboy Prime kills the Marvel universe.
Honestly, it's ridiculous. There was a moment where he just punched reality so hard that he just ripped a hole in the space-time continuum, and somehow
He
Jason
did
Todd was
fucking
brought
do
back
that.
to life.
He really did just punch reality, didn't
It's
he?
literally just like the joke where it's like smash your car until it starts working again. It's just Superboy Prime just literally punched so hard that Jason Todd came back to life, and it's just so stupid. Then, 5 years later, they changed it so they just used the Lazarus Pit, which I think makes a million times more sense.
Yeah, I just like the Lazarus pit in general.
Yeah, no, the pit's like really interesting. Um, but it's just crazy because like people joke about the lengths that comic book writers go through to bring characters back, and I think original Jason Todd revival is one of like those peak examples of
Yeah, I think that just tops the cake.
they just talk out of their ass until they come up with some way to bring the character back.
It's so absurd. God,
It's so
I love
weird.
comics like that.
Like, I'm trying to think of other examples. Like, recently, like when they sent Batman back in time, like when he fought Darkseid and got sent back in time from the Omega Sanction, and like it was, like they were writing it off like Batman was dead, but DC like anymore, they're not gonna kill off Batman. He's like literally like their biggest moneymaker.
Exactly.
But they were writing him off as if he was dead, But like literally 3 issues later, he was like, "Oh well, I somehow managed to survive like 2,000 years, and here I am." It's just loony. It's
That's
so
just a lot of
crazy.
prep time to him.
Batman had 2,000 years of prep time. Uh, and he still couldn't beat Superman.
I don't know, man. 2,000 years, that's a
I
lot.
don't know. I'm dying on this hill. I've already decided if I make this podcast into a reoccurring thing, episode 100 is just going to be me debating Batman versus Superman with someone.
Okay, well, let's do it right now. I think Batman could beat him with 2,000 years of prep time.
Okay, but you have to realize, though, Batman was stuck in, like, prehistoric history. What is he going to do with things in prehistoric history?
He's just gonna.
Is he going to build a really sharp rock to stab Superman with?
No, he's gonna infuse the rock with like Agent Kryptonite that's just hiding in the Earth's core.
Even though Kryptonite wouldn't exist on Earth because Krypton hadn't exploded yet?
Yep, he's that powerful.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh gosh. But yeah, no, Jason Todd is just
Oh man,
it's so loony, just like it's just he's probably one of the characters who I have the hardest time explaining the origin for. It's just that weird.
Yeah, I mean, his current origins aren't that hard to explain. He dies, he comes back.
But no, like,
Red
his
Hood.
reboot one. There's one other character that I will get into next after whoever your next character is that I have an equally difficult time explaining. So if you want to, go ahead and, like, who's your next guy?
Okay, well, it's not really guys. It's like a group of people. My original guy was just so absurd I had to talk. All right, so we're going to be talking about Giraffe Man. There's nothing special about him. It's just Giraffe Man, and he doesn't really have an origin. So that's why I'm going to be talking about the Animan. So not to be confused with the Animan without the hyphen. This is Animan hyphenated.
Not Animal Man.
Yeah, no, not Animal Man, but they get pretty close with it. So the Animan, okay, they were a criminal organization. They really have no origin. They're just animal people that are evil. And you gotta love these names. We have Frogman.
Oh, I love Frogman.
Catman, Birdman, and my favorite, Ape Man. Oh, dude, I love Frogman.
Yeah, Ape Man.
Okay, so they appeared in Daredevil.
Ape Man, not to be confused with the Black Panther villain Man Ape.
Oh, that is true. But they appeared in Daredevil number 10, and they all got their asses kicked immediately.
Yeah, Frogman, like, was it Frogman or was it Leapfrog? Because, like, they're literally, like, the exact same character.
Okay, so it's Frogman, and Frogman got kicked out of the group apparently, because their next appearance, they were known as the Unholy Three.
Oh yes, nothing quite strikes fear into the name of Christ, such as Ape Man.
Jesus Christ was always a dog person.
He was not a bird person or a cat person.
Yeah, so they were now. So after they got their asses kicked by I think the Avengers, they got Count Nefaria got a hold of them.
That's super
and brought back Frogman.
He's underrated as hell.
I agree. He specifically requested Frogman to come back to the team. That was just one of his demands. And he added Dragonfly.
That's great. Oh my gosh,
he loves Frogman.
Who doesn't though?
Okay, so he gave them all superpowers. I agree. Okay,
Daredevil had some weird villains back in his original days, because he had Frogman, he had fucking Stiltman.
Stiltman! Oh man, I totally forgot about Stiltman. He's really just a man who's tall.
I'm so hoping that one day, if we get a Daredevil movie in the MCU, they put Stiltman in there.
Like it doesn't even have to be like an actual threat. He's just a guy on stilts he's just evil.
Yeah. It's
And so they get their asses kicked by the X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, Dragonfly gets taken to a research facility. And then I think the original 4 members of the Animan still work for Nefaria. And then they're ultimately killed by a fucking bomb.
That's such a lame way to
They're all
die
just
too.
nuked.
Because like
They're just all nuked. It's
because you think like
sorry.
other supervillain like super character deaths. Like you have fucking like Elektra, she gets killed by her own Psy. You got Barry Allen, he runs so fast that like he just dissolves into the Speed Force. And then you have the Animen where they just a bomb goes off and they all die.
So the one that Giraffe Man is in is actually the most recent incarnation of the team, and it also has such wonderful characters as Rabbit Woman and
Oh,
Man-horned Owl Man. Not just Owl Man, just fucking man-horned Owl Man.
yeah, not to be confused with DC's Owlman. Oh my gosh.
Oh, and all of them aren't even that important. I don't Giraffe Man and none of those guys have origin stories. They just crashed this one modeling party because they used animal products and they were against that.
Speaking of lame Marvel supervillain teams, I love how the Masters of Evil are supposed to be like evil Avengers, but literally like all of the characters in there are like D-list villains. Like you have Radioactive Man, you got Melter, like the worst Iron Man villain, and then you have like Black Knight.
Oh my god. Not Black Knight.
Yeah, but actually, it's so funny. The Animan was like probably the perfect transition into my next character. Who we've talked about Birdman, but now we're gonna talk about Hawkman.
Ah, I love Hawkman.
I love Hawkman too. He's so great, but his origin story is just insane because it's like there's like 50 of them. There's 50 different origin stories for this one character, and it's just because he keeps getting reincarnated.
Oh my god, poor Hawkman. He has an identity crisis.
Like Moon Knight.
Ah, see, we have continuity in this podcast.
Yeah, we can. I think we were talking about Moon Knight before we started recording.
Oh, are you serious? Oh, okay.
No.
Well, now we have to make a prequel.
Yeah, the prequel. But so not. I almost just said Moon Knight.
Let's talk about Moon Knight.
Yeah, he's got a weird
No.
origin story too. But Hawkman, he was this old like Egyptian researcher, and his name was Carter Hall, and he came across like this weird metal called nth metal, and it just bonded with him,
Ooh.
and it gave him like metal bird wings that let him fly, and it just
Oh, is all it should.
yeah, and it's just every time he dies, he's reincarnated, and it's just like because of that, there's like 50 different origin stories. Sometimes it's like the same guy who's like just he remembers everything that happened. Sometimes he's like a guy that looks like a hawk and makes hawk noises. Sometimes he's and then like sometimes he's just like a buff guy in a hawk costume.
Oh, just like me.
Yeah, I mean, I go around. Honestly, I would go into Walmart just wearing a Hawkman costume.
I would ask Walmart for a Hawkman outfit, and then they wouldn't know if I was the real Hawkman or not. They just can't prove that.
Yeah, because there's just too many of them. And I just love that Hawk Woman has literally the
Too many
exact...
Hawkmen.
Yeah, we don't... Too many. And then Hawk Woman literally has the exact same origin story, except she's a girl. It's just so...
I mean, I do appreciate women.
That's a lie.
I mean, is it a lie? I mean, I could be that one Hawkman who's sexist.
No, Hawkman's not sexist, because his entire personality is that he wants to get with, like, the same girl every time he's alive.
Oh, well, good thing this is an origin episode, or I wouldn't have known that.
Yeah, no, his whole thing is that, like, he literally he's just drawn to Hawkwoman every time he's reborn. It's super creepy because like he'll just show up one day and he'll be like, "Yeah, we're like you're gonna date me because we're destined to be together." And like neither of them have.
It's
memories.
almost like that fucking. God, it's almost like that one. What was it like? I forgot the character. Was it Silk?
Was it who?
Both they just want to fuck each other.
Oh, Silk.
Silk.
Yeah. Silk and Peter Parker, where the whole thing is like they were bitten by the same. Oh my god, I hate this so much. Basically, Silk is a Spider-Man character. She was introduced in like 2016, and she has this thing where her and Spider-Man were bitten by the exact same spider, and so whenever she and Peter Parker come into contact with each other, they just get this irresistible urge to mate with each other. And
Ooh, dude, my favorite pastime.
It is so weird too because like it's another one of those things where it's like, what were they thinking writing this?
And this was in 2016.
Yeah, this wasn't even that long
They have
ago.
no excuse.
Was Silk really only 4 years ago? 5 years ago?
Yeah, no, it's crazy. It's like they have no excuse for writing this garbage.
So-
What is this?
I don't know, but the guy that wrote that story, like I really like all of his Spider-Man stuff, but Silk was just so weird. I think recently they've gotten rid of the whole like thing between them, but it's still weird.
I like that one of her only official alias is Spider Bride.
Is it seriously?
It's just Spider Bride.
Oh my gosh, that's
I
great.
I hate that.
Oh, how nice. But yeah, it's just there's a lot of Spider-Man characters that have weird backstories. Like, there's a character called Scarlet Spider. He's one of my favorite characters in the Spider-Man mythos.
Ah, yes.
Ben Reilly. And he was part of this 3-year overarching saga in Spider-Man lore called the Clone Saga. And it was supposed to last 6 months, but it was written so horribly that it got extended by 2.5 years. And the whole
Oh
plot
my
of it
God.
was, this clone of Spider-Man named Ben Reilly shows up, and there's a whole subplot where it's like no one's sure if Peter Parker is actually like the original Spider-Man or if it's Ben Reilly. And I think Ben Reilly is really cool because he's just like Peter Parker, but he's just a different character still. And plus, Scarlet Spider has one of like the coolest Spider-Man costumes ever. It's just the Spider-Man costume without all the lines and a blue tank top.
Yeah, no, the blue tank top is just iconic. I love it.
I love it so much. He has a new costume now, and I hate it. It looks so dumb. It's
Oh
it's
yeah,
all
isn't
black.
it literally just the Spider-Man suit but inverted?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But that's what Miles
it's
Morales'
so
suit
bad.
is too, which is like really weird.
Dude, they're just trying to capitalize the Spider-Verse, I suppose.
I'm tired of Spider-Verse stuff, honestly, and that's not even like because of the movie. I'm just
I
like
am
the
too.
comics have been pushing it for like years now. Speaking of which, the original Spider-Verse story is weird as hell. It's like there's a vampire
Oh, it is.
that's going around like killing different versions of Spider-Man to drink their life essence and become like the Spider God. It's so weird. It is just it's another one of those things, it keeps coming back to us. I'm pretty sure the writers were just on something when they wrote it.
It's just like it's so weird
It is.
because I know that there's a point where like you're just running out of ideas.
Yeah, it's
But is that really cute?
yeah, no, it's and just think like we're just sticking to the main continuity characters for this. Imagine if we went into like the what if characters. Like we could go into
Oh
Dark
my
Knight's Metal and all of the weird
God.
origin stories and that, like the Batman.
Dude, let's talk about the
You cut out. I didn't. Who were we gonna talk about? Unfortunate.
fucking Batman laugh.
Oh.
I totally just didn't scratch the Batman laugh list.
That was super scuffed. The only word.
Let's talk about Techman. He totally fucked him up.
Oh my gosh.
Tony Masters. He was born in
Oh,
something year,
yeah.
and he was born with photographic memory, I believe.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's
None of that
photographic memory or
techno babble
it's
bullshit.
something.
Photogenic?
Yeah, photogenic is what it is. Like, he
Who
can,
knows? Who knows? Who
well, who cares? Because the movie didn't do
cares? It's
that.
Taskmaster. You know? Yeah, the movie didn't care. Why should he's
Spoilers for Black
born.
Widow, by the way.
He lives life. He does stuff.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. Oh wow. I
spoilers
totally
for.
forgot to do that. I was just gonna go off.
Yeah, no, spoilers for Black Widow. We're gonna be talking about Taskmaster now. Okay, but go on, go on, go on.
Specifically the comic version.
And we'll
All
probably
right.
mention
So yeah,
how they
Tony
fucked up the
Masters.
movie one.
Yep, they fucked him up real good.
Yeah, it's
They fucked him so good. He's not even him
yeah.
anymore.
Oh, and he's not Tony Masters. Ugh.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, Tony Masters. He's born with he's born with the ability to memorize anything he sees.
Mm-hmm.
And he uses this ability as a kid. He watches TV. He could be watching like what's a popular TV show?
He could be watching pro football, and he could play like a pro football player.
That one. Oh yeah. What if he was watching America's Most Wanted? Would he just become the criminal?
Yeah. Oh my god.
So eventually he starts working for Shield, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he does. He
And
starts out as a
there's
shield
one
agent.
mission where he finds. Yeah, he's a Shield agent. Then there's this one dangerous mission, and he finds the super soldier serum. I forget if it was like the original version or if it was a prototype.
I think it was a prototype, replica.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So and he's put in a situation where he drinks it, and he becomes Captain America. Power level wise.
Yeah.
But he gains memory loss. Shield is like, ooh, we can use this guy. And they have an operator remind who he on that mission until the mission is done, and then they give him a brand new personality, or identity,
Yeah.
for the next mission. And then he goes. I forget what place he is, but he goes inside a cult, and he has to wear the iconic Taskmaster mask.
Yeah.
Which is just that mask is just so good. Why did they fuck it up so bad?
In the movie, you mean?
What are they doing? Yeah, in the movie.
It's because of Chinese laws. You can't have like a skull face on a thing.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. So
that makes so much sense.
Didn't Crossbones have like a skull mask in Civil War?
He did. He did.
Yeah. What
he
the
really did.
hell? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so Taskmaster, he dons the new identity of Taskmaster, and I think he eventually escapes Shield's grasp, and then he just starts training a bunch of foot soldiers.
Yeah, he just makes money because he opens like
the origin
like
for so many foot soldiers.
Yeah, he opens like a training program where he teaches you like the moves of people he's copied, and he just makes a ton of money.
Yeah, he's just so cool. He's literally me, except like I don't have that cool ability.
Or a dojo where you teach people how to be killers.
Or money, but besides that, we're practically the same.
I'm just like Batman, but I clean tables at Texas Roadhouse instead of fight crime.
Oh man, he's so cool. You should read. I forgot. Was it the 2003 series? That's a good series.
Yeah, I think that's the one that expanded on. And then he was a series I really like. It was the Secret Avengers run after Civil War, where it was like Captain America, and it was like he had his secret team. It was like Moon Knight, Sharon Carter, Hawkeye, and Taskmaster. And he was in that. He was really good.
That was a good run. You should, if you love Taskmaster, if you were like, oh wow, this guy sucks, from watching the movie.
If you watch the movie,
please read those recommendations.
Yeah, no, if you want to, see a good Taskmaster, check those out.
Or you could read his first appearance, which is literally just him working for a dude that cloned himself.
Yeah, isn't it
It's weird.
which one is it? Is that Avengers 86?
I believe so.
Yeah.
It's so weird. It's so weird.
It's yeah, he's weird. But no, it's like really I Taskmaster's awesome. I hate that they butchered him so badly. I really hope that they're gonna give him the Mandarin treatment, and like later down the line we'll get like an accurate Tony Masters.
I agree.
But yeah, it's
If they're just gonna get rid of Taskmaster, I'm gonna cry.
yeah, it's yeah, it's interesting.
It's really unfortunate.
Yeah. Um, let's see. Who else do I have on my list? Oh yeah,
I'm like a huge Taskmaster fan.
yeah. No, Taskmaster's really cool. I like. It's so weird because like he was never like a super popular character, at least in my experience. But like within the past few years, he's just gotten really popular.
Yeah, no, I've seen that too. I, I was really excited when I announced him for. My heart shattered into a million pieces that day.
Yeah, heartbroken. So
Uh, so who was your next
oh,
character?
okay.
Oh,
So
my
this
bad.
guy is a huge Marvel character, but he's got like a really. It's a weird origin story to explain, but it's actually like one of my favorite villain origin stories of all time.
Villagers.
Yeah, yeah. It's Galactus. Galactus has a super.
Oh,
Do you know Galactus's origin story?
I just know. I just know that he was just. I know that he was originally somebody else before he was like cursed.
Yeah. So basically, before he was Galactus, the guy that eats planets and is like billions of feet tall, he was just this regular guy named Galen,
Yeah.
and he existed in the universe before the Big Bang. And so he literally predates like the universe itself. And when the Big Bang happened, he was like the only person to survive the universe exploding pretty much. But to do so, he got into like his ship and he fell into basically a coma for millions of years until like modern day. But when he woke up, he was just like he was running low on energy, and for lack of better words, he was just super hungry. But a lot like all of the energy from the Big Bang had just bonded with him. But for him to keep that energy and to like keep him alive, he had to consume like planets because they had enough energy to sustain him. So that's why he
Ah,
goes and hunts down for planets and stuff. But it's I just think it's really cool because he existed before pretty much any other character. Like even the cosmic entities in Marvel, like Dormammu and Mephisto and stuff, he existed like before them.
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, but Galactus is just really cool. I wouldn't say he's underrated because he's one of the most popular villains in Marvel. Just everyone knows who he is.
Yeah, I feel like people like him because he's really, he's just probably the strongest Marvel villain, quote unquote.
Yeah, I
So
think.
people just latch onto that
Plus, I think just people like the idea of a giant purple guy in a funny helmet who eats planets.
for real.
But
Yeah, honestly, like I think my first not interaction, but like the first
exposure.
interpretation of the character, yeah, exposure, yeah, was I think it was like a Spider-Man cartoon, and it was literally just a joke gag. So I thought the character was like an entire joke character.
Oh yeah, that's
I thought like the joke every time was that he was gonna eat Earth, but he just couldn't.
it's yeah, it's Galactus is so awesome. I love him. I hope that they do him in the movies one day, but at the same time, I feel like he just like they would have to set him up, and that would just take forever. I think it's possible they'll eventually do him, but it's like between Kang and like they're probably gonna start setting up Doom after the Fantastic Four show up. It's just I don't know if there's gonna be time for him.
Honestly, I'm a be honest, I don't think Kang is gonna be the next big bad villain. I think it's definitely gonna be Doom.
I think it could be Doom, but the thing I have with that is, like, I wouldn't think they would introduce him until Fantastic Four, and that's like not for another few
Yeah,
years.
no, that's why I think Kang is gonna be the main villain of like Phase 4,
Yeah, yeah, no, I think
and
that's
then
the
like
case.
Phase 5, they're gonna start doing Doom stuff.
Yeah, they'll take like a break in between.
Yeah, I like Kang. I mean, there's some stories with Kang. I think he's just kind of, I think it's too complicated, and I think
Oh
it's
my
kind of
god,
annoying.
there are so
But
many
like, I
complicated
like Kang.
stories with Kang. Like, there's one where he's like gonna be killed by like a time god, so he gets like, he gets okay. The team he assembles is so weird because he's like, I need the Avengers to help save me from this like evil time guy who's gonna kill me because I messed with time. So he goes out and gets the big three. You know, he gets Captain America, he gets Iron Man, and then he gets Thor. And then I swear that they only chose these other three because they would be easy to draw. They grab U.S. Agent, they grab War Machine, and then they grab Thunderstrike, who is like, if you don't know who he is, he was basically like, they introduced him in the 90s, and he was like, he was literally just Thor, but he was a regular guy with a Thor hammer. So they
God.
grabbed the three main Avengers, and then like the copy characters.
Oh my God, they would do that.
And just every Kang story is
Ah,
so complicated. Kang in himself has like a really weird origin story just because it has so much to do with time travel. Because he's like the great whatever grandson of Mr. Fantastic, but he's like he lived in ancient Egypt.
yeah, I think it's cool that they're using Kang to set up the Fantastic Four. I think that's smart.
I think it's a good way to go about doing it. Yeah, it's yeah, I
I
agree.
also love the use of the TVA because, like, I think the most interesting story with the TVA in the comics involved the Fantastic Four, and they basically fuck with time. And they were like, "We're tired of the TVA
The TVA suck in the
monitoring
comics.
our timeline, so we're just gonna take it off." They do nothing. I know there's this one guy. I forgot his name. It was like he's kind of just patriotic and stuff. I forgot his name. It was like
Captain
Freedom something.
America,
No, no. Okay, so it's pretty much Captain America, except he's more aggressive. And
U.S. agent.
whenever he sees somebody being a law, he
There's so many toxic patriotic characters in Marvel.
ah seriously. God, I know, but like, there's this really funny joke where he sees a bunch of people jaywalking, so he purposely messes with the timeline so they'll never jaywalk again.
Have you ever read
So
that? Have you
funny.
ever read that comic? It's from like the late '90s, early 2000s. It's a Punisher comic, and he sees someone like litter in a trash can. Like he misses a trash can. Like he's like throwing trash in the trash can, and Punisher just fucking shoots him in the head because he littered. Because Punisher's insane, and he's like, oh, well, every crime has to go punished. So he kills a guy for missing a trash can, and then like right after that, he climbs up a building and he like shoots some people who are jaywalking, and then like after that, I think it's like
Yeah.
they're like, oh, it's like a guy and his wife and they're doing something, but it's like a very minor offense, and he just like throws a grenade in their house and kills them. I like Punisher, but I
I love
think
the
Punisher is
Punisher.
just like they need to do more stuff where he's just insane because he's like he's insane. I don't care because like he's just that's what he is. The only time that I
He's just
think
insane.
the only time that I think that like Punisher was actually in the right, it was Civil War. It was when Spider-Man was like defecting to Captain America's side, and he was like escaping all the villains that the superhero registration act had sent against him. And Punisher was there, and he just like killed the people who were about to kill Spider-Man. And then Captain America was like, "Oh, why'd you kill him? Why'd you kill him? Why'd you do that?" And he just it's like, well, because they were about to kill Spider-Man. And like these were like C-list villains at best. Like there's Jack O' Lantern, and like I don't even remember who the other guy was.
Dude, I can't wait for 2045. The Avengers with fucking Jack O'Lantern.
Jack O'Lantern, the main villain of Spider-Man 76. No Nut November. Yeah. Speaking of Spider-Man, I just thought of another great character who has an interesting. The character in question, like they don't really have an interesting origin story, but like the means of their creation is horrible. This is like one of the worst Spider-Man stories ever. So there was one story, I don't even remember what it's called. It's like you'll know the one I'm talking about when I start explaining it. But it's Peter Parker, he's like getting chased by like these mutant spider monsters, and they're like stupid brainless monsters. The whole origin story behind it is while Peter Parker was dating Gwen Stacy, Norman Osborn, like the Green Goblin, had an affair with Gwen Stacy, a 16-year-old girl, impregnated her, killed her while she was pregnant, took the children and like mutated them into spider monsters.
Yeah, no, that's just probably the. I think that takes the cake for the stupidest shit they could have come up with.
There's some other interesting ones. Like there's I don't remember her name. It's there's one Spider-Man villain. She was like a super minor character, but she like she was like obsessed with Spider-Man. She tricked Flash. She was disguised as the school nurse. She tricked Flash Thompson into having sex with her. And like she gave birth to like I don't know what it is with people who write Spider-Man and their weird fetish of making like weird monster birth, love affair spider monsters, but like the fact that it happens twice is kind of weird.
Yeah,
it's crazy. There's a lot of weird Spider-Man villains actually. Like,
and most of them are animals. You know, you got to get props for like being consistent.
I think we were talking about this like 2 months ago, but I can name like 20 Spider-Man villains who are animal based off the top of my head. You got Chameleon.
Yeah, I know. I was mad afterwards because we were naming Batman villains named after animals, and we totally forgot about the most obvious one. Oh wait, no, it wasn't just Batman villains. It was just DC villains in general because Spider-Man had that many.
Yeah, there's what?
We totally forgot about Gorilla Grodd, and it made me mad.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't. Ugh. It's so, like, it's crazy. It's just, there's so many animal-based villains. It's weird. Because even, like, some of the ones that aren't so directly based on animals. You have, like, Kraven the Hunter, whose whole thing is that he kills animals. It's strange.
I know there's this weird alternate version of Spider-Man where instead of being bit by a spider, he falls into a pit of spiders and he fucking dies.
I love Spiders-Man. Yeah. We're kind of dipping into like the alternate like what if comic book characters now. So there's Spiders-Man, and he was like I think he was introduced in like the Spider-Verse comic. But his whole thing was like instead of Spider-Man getting bit by a radioactive spider on the field trip that caused him to become Spider-Man, it was like he fell into a vat full of like radioactive spiders, and like they show it in the comic, he just gets like just devoured by these things. It's just like in full detail. Like there's thousands of them, and they just eat him alive. It's ridiculous. You see them like tear the flesh off of him.
Yeah, if you have arachnophobia, you really should.
Yeah, do not read Spider-Verse.
You know, it's funny. Do arachnophobes like hate Spider-Man?
I like to imagine they do. Yeah, arachnophobes when they see Spider-Man. But basically, because these spiders, like these are still radioactive spiders. They're just like Peter Parker didn't survive them. That's the only difference. But because they're radioactive, they like get the brain of Peter Parker, but it's like they all have a hive mind, and so what they do is they like merge together to form like a giant humanoid spider monster. Just imagine the shape of a human, but it's composed of like thousands of tiny spiders, and they get into the Spider-Man costume, and it's just so weird because it's all lumpy and nasty. And they're just spiders going around as in a Spider-Man costume.
It's so absurd, but I think it's the right amount of absurd
It's
where it's like I
so
can get
crazy.
behind this.
Yeah, no, it's just I'm trying to think of other good like what if origin stories. Like
Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Cosmic Ghost Rider is like his origin story is actually just really cool. I like how we went from talking about origins like weird ones to cool ones, but that's you know what, that's fine. We're just kind of talking about interesting ones in general now. But
Yeah, no, we never said we had to talk about the weird ones. We could just talk about origin
we're
stories.
talking about a lot of weird ones though. Like we just did Spiders Man.
That's not weird in my book. That's like tame compared to fucking Mandrill.
Mandrill and then like the weird spider babies that Gwen Stacy gave birth to. But
Jesus Christ.
oh, it's horrible. It's so horrible. But
They will never top that.
Cosmic Ghost Rider's awesome. It's like he's just Punisher, but he becomes the spirit of vengeance, which is like basically, for lack of a better words, it's like an agent of the devil who makes people feel like all the pain they've caused on others. I don't know if like I'm sure if you're listening to this, you at least have an idea of who Ghost Rider is, but he's the Punisher. He's
Yeah.
like this super war hardened guy that just he's insane. He kills every criminal he comes across, and then you give him the powers of like an ancient eldritch demon, and then on top of that, he gets like super OP cosmic powers because Galactus gives him like power, and he's just
Oh yeah, no,
ridiculously
he
strong.
made Galactus. God, that whole origin part that was so cool. I loved reading that.
I
He
need.
made fucking Galactus plead for help, and then he fucking betrayed him.
It's so awesome. I really need to reread Cosmic Ghost Rider. I haven't read it in a good while.
So it's in the What If universe. What if Thanos won and got what he wanted?
Yeah, after the events of like what is it? Isn't it after Infinity Gauntlet?
Yeah, and after Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah. This isn't
And one
really
of the
a
major story arcs was called "Baby Thanos Should Die."
yeah because he it's literally just they do the question where it's like, what if you went back in time and killed baby Hitler? That's literally what Cosmic Ghost Rider does. He like goes back in time, finds baby Thanos, but like he's just like, well, do I want to kill him? He's like, no, but he takes him and like wants to raise him to like prevent everything. And the funny thing about this, I was talking about this as my friend. DC Comics at almost the exact same time, Darkseid was turned into a baby because like I think it was like they killed him. It was like the same time Batman got sent back in time and supposedly died. But like his daughter like somehow brought him back as a baby and was like gonna like make him reborn. But I just love that because there's one panel. It's like Dark Knight's Metal issue 2, I think, where Superman and Wonder Woman are looking for Batman. And they're like, "Hey, Bruce, we have you cornered," and he just whips out baby Darkseid. And it's just like, and they're like, oh, the Superman and Wonder Woman are just like cowering in fear because they're just, it's hilarious. It's like, oh, Bruce, you know, he might be a baby, but he's still the most dangerous being in the universe.
Who would win, Superman or Batman with fucking baby Darkseid?
I think that's the one time where I would side with Batman. It's
Baby Darkseid with prep time is the strongest being in the universe.
honestly, that's it's
And
just
by prep time, I just mean him growing up.
yeah. Um, I literally just had a character I was thinking about who had like a kind of cool origin story, but I forgot who it was. It was a what if character. I know that much. Well,
What
actually,
if characters are cool?
what if characters are really cool. I love like the little spins on them they do. Well, while I'm trying to think of who I was thinking about, is there anyone that you want to talk about?
Well, we got completely turned into we changed the subject from just weird characters to what if characters. So now I'm obviously just trying to think of more interesting what if characters.
Oh, I remember. Okay,
But
I'll let you go first, but I remembered who I was going to talk about.
oh no, you can go ahead while I
Okay,
think of one.
so I feel like I feel bad just because I feel like I'm just bringing all these to attention. But
No, it's fine. I just can't think of anything.
okay, that's fine. But so in I think it was like 2006, it was around the time DC was kind of deciding that they wanted to start rebooting stuff. Marvel kind of also did a soft reboot. It was called The Ultimates.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I could do a whole podcast just talking about how weird the Ultimates are, but
Oh, dude,
that should
I
honestly
hate
be a
it so much.
topic for like another day.
It
But
really should.
we'll put that on the list of topics because I'll probably have you come back as a guest a lot if like you'd
Yeah,
like to. But
of course.
so the Ultimates, what it was supposed to be, the intent was it's like it was the same reason DC kind of did a soft reboot. It's like readers they got like 80 years of continuity and they do there's no way that they know it all. Comics are just so hard to get into. And so what they did, they created the Ultimates, and what it was supposed to be like a more grounded, realistic, like take on the Marvel universe. So like a good example, Captain America, everything goes the same because he already has like a pretty grounded origin story. He gets experimented on by the government, he gets frozen, gets thawed out. The big difference in Ultimate Captain America though is that he acts like a guy from World War II would. Like he's super like he's racist. He's
Oh my god, yes.
he's racist, he yells a lot, he's like super militaristic. He's like not nice at all. Like there's a panel where he's like he's like he prioritizes America over everything else. Like there's one panel that everyone's seen where it's like he's screaming and pointing at the A on his forehead and he's like, "Do you think this A stands for France?" But like Thor, Thor was like one of the weirdest origins from the Ultimates because it was the whole thing. It was like so like it was the whole thing where like he claimed he was a god from Asgard and stuff. But the interesting twist was like no one actually knew if that was true or not. So like there was always up in the air as to whether or not Thor was actually like a god or just like a ridiculously insane strong guy who had a hammer that could shoot lightning, and they never clarified that. And I don't think they ever brought any other Norse gods into it. So it was kind of just a question that was left up in the air. But when you get into the X-Men, that's when you get some of like the really fucked up stuff. Like, for example,
oh yeah,
Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, no, I think you just reminded me about Maggot.
Oh yeah, Maggot. Oh, okay, we'll talk about Maggot next because like I think that would be another great topic. Is just talking about weird X-Men characters because there are just so many weird X-Men characters.
See, guys, look, this series is already popping off. We're really smart. We know what we're doing.
We'll make a list of topics after this that we can do, but
yeah.
But okay, so probably the worst thing that the Ultimates universe did, Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. In the main universe, they're the children of Magneto and their twin brother and sister. In the Ultimates, it was kind of implied that they were the children of Wolverine and not Magneto, which is fine. It's a different spin on the characters. The issue is they were also like romantically involved.
Ooh, so yep. We're getting to it now. Jesus Christ!
I think it was in X-Men Ultimate X-Men issue 6 or something. There's a panel where Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, twin brother and sister, just start making out, and it's weird. And the thing that makes it worse, the Wolverine, who is supposedly their father, is just watching this entire time.
And Ultimate Wolverine is probably the worst character they've ever written.
Yeah, because wasn't he a pedophile too?
Yeah, no, okay, so he swapped bodies with Peter Parker, and he started dating MJ.
Yeah, that's right.
And then after they swapped back, he just makes this completely just disgusting remark about how Peter's a lucky man and how he hit it. It's just so fucking awful.
So
I hate this man.
Okay, but I used to like the Ultimates, but like going back in it has not aged well at all.
Yeah, I think the Ultimate Fantastic Four, I think that's good. I like that, but everything afterwards is just so edgy and
really the only thing
try to be different.
Because Secret Wars 2015, it got rid of the Ultimates, and so really anymore the only thing from the Ultimate Universe that's still around is Miles Morales and the Ultimate Fantastic Four.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think I think that was a good way to end it because I feel like at that point the Ultimates, their time was over. I didn't want them continuing.
Yeah, and
Didn't
it's
it end with like every character fucking dying?
yeah, no, because it was near the end of the Ultimates. I think it was like right before that. It was like 2012. I think it was right. It was like 6 months before they introduced Miles Morales. There was an event where Magneto basically flooded all of New York City, and he killed like
Because he,
yeah.
I forgot the reason for it. It was literally because he could change like the magnetic waves of like the fucking tides or some shit.
It's so stupid. It's so stupid. But yeah, Magneto floods New York City and he kills like a ton of people, including a lot of Avengers. And
Yeah.
so then, like, that's kind of when they wrote out the X-Men because it's like mutants were super discriminated against after that, even more so than usual. And
Uh,
but it's insane because yeah, they just killed off a lot of people. The Ultimates had some really weird character designs too, because there's like Thor had a giant axe instead of a hammer. Like that's where like the MCU Stormbreaker design comes from. Is like this weird axe hammer thing.
didn't like the Hulk like uh he could hold it because
He could what?
he was. I think he could hold the axe and
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
one issue, but he was just really strong.
Yeah. No, it was really strong, and it was
That
in
was
one
so
issue. But I
stupid.
think I liked the way I. The thing about that though is I think that was just kind of part of the whole thing where it was like, is Thor actually a god or is he just insane and really strong? But it's like Iron Man had this really weird suit of armor. Hawkeye
Yeah.
looked weird. It was like it was kind of where they
Hawkeye just looks weird.
yeah. Oh my gosh, it's just
I know they infamously killed Wasp by having her get consumed by the
but
blob, and that was just horrible.
oh, I forgot about that.
I know, honestly, all things considered, I think she deserved it because she was a huge advocate for incest.
Yeah, no, it was just the ultimate. It was so fucked up in hindsight. I think that like we should
It,
definitely just do an
it really
episode where
was.
we
I
talk
think
about the
Captain
ultimates.
America, even Captain America was a huge racist,
Yeah, no, he was
but I think he made a
racist.
remark, and then fucking the Wasp. No, and then the Wasp was like, just your old timey ways, you just don't understand incest." It's so fucking stupid
It's
because he
so
was in the
funny.
right.
Yeah, and then like I think Captain America like hates Black Panther just because he's just straight up racist. It's so awful. Like
Oh my god, this is
I remember like even when I was a kid,
this
I
is
did like
so dumb.
I enjoyed the Ultimates, but like the only character that I like actually enjoyed and that I thought were like the only characters that I think have aged like fine because like every character in that is fucked up. Ultimate Spider-Man was really good. Um
Oh
uh
yeah.
because like I still think that the death of Peter Parker in the Ultimate Universe is like one of the best comic book deaths ever. It's so good.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Ultimate Iron Man, he was fine. He was literally like he did not change at all.
Oh
It's
yeah,
crazy.
wasn't there a whole thing where a sex tape got leaked and like that's what fucking made the twins want a bone or something? It was so
Yeah,
dumb.
it's. I am just convinced that like all comes back to this. They were like the writers were just snorting cocaine when they were writing the Ultimates.
They were like, let's fit as many taboos in this one fucking comic, dude.
Yeah, it was like we'll have a racist. Captain America's a racist. Wasp is a fan of incest. Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch are into each other. Ugh, it's just. Ugh. And then I think
I hate
Hank
Ultimate
Pym, despite the fact that he is an awful person in 6 months in the main Marvel continuity, is just like I think Hank Pym was like one of the only people who was fine in the Ultimate Universe.
Oh, he was.
We then just compare that to like main
You know, it's
Marvel.
crazy because Hank Pym was just an asshole.
He's like the worst main Avenger. He's like I've been rereading a lot of like old West Coast Avengers lately, and there are like multiple like there's one comic book where literally they open and it's like Hank Pym has a gun and he's just straight up about to blow his brains out. And then like Firebird, who's like a D-list
Me
Avengers.
every Sunday.
Then there's just Firebird, who's like a D-list Avengers character, who just comes in and is like, no, Ant-Man, don't do it. And he's like, why? I'm a horrible person. And she's like, no, he's not. I'm like, yes, you are. You beat your wife. Like, I'm a big fan of Hank Pym, but he's done some horrible stuff.
I mean, as long as they can acknowledge it.
I guess it's just,
God, man.
ugh, it's so weird.
Oh man. So Maggot, he's interesting.
He's interesting. Let's do Maggot, but then we can save like,
Yeah.
other X-Men characters for like their own episodes, because we could talk for hours about some weird X-Men guys.
Exactly. So real name J-Path. He was born siblings. He had so many.
Yeah.
And when he hit puberty, he had the ability to just grow maggots out of his hands, I think. Was it his hands or was it his abdomen? I forgot.
I think they come out of like holes in his like the sides of his stomach, which is just nasty. But now that I say that,
Yeah,
I
no,
think
that's
they
fucking
actually
nasty,
do come
and
out of his hands, which is even worse because then you got to think they're like crawling through his arms, and it's just ugh.
Oh.
But
Yeah, and I think in his origins they even said that he felt stomach pains when he was younger because there was just little maggots growing inside of him, and that's fucking
as
disgusting.
a real world example, imagine if you had. It's just like that there are two wolves inside of you. Okay, so just imagine you have there's like two tapeworms that are inside of you, and just like as soon as you hit puberty, you can just shoot these tapeworms out. Like and like all of your mutant friends are getting the ability to like, you know, like teleport or like go intangible or read minds. Your whole power is that you can shoot little tapeworms out of your arms, and whenever they eat something, it nourishes you. Did he do something else, or was that it? Or was that like his only thing like the maggots did?
I think that's the only thing the maggots did. I mean, I guess they could use this.
Like, how would he even be useful in a fight?
The maggots cannibalize people.
Oh, okay. So he just kills people, pretty much. That's
Yeah,
just,
for real.
that's messed up.
Yeah. You know, I
You're cutting out again.
oh god.
There we go.
Oh, okay, let me.
Okay, but yeah, no, maggot is just like it's nasty.
Yeah, he's just completely disgusting, and I love him because he's so out there as a character.
There are just some awful X-Men, like there's Cypher and his like there's some you either get the coolest powers ever or you get the lamest thing. Like Cypher, his whole ability is that he can translate languages. Like,
I think that's a cool power, but at the same time, it's like it's lame for like
that's a thing normal
comic
people can
book
do.
standards. Oh, really?
Yeah, you gotta think about it like this. Like, his power
Have to
is
try.
equivalent to, like, someone with, like, a PhD who studied language arts.
For real.
It's just so strange.
No.
I'm just trying to think here. Like, there's a
Yeah.
talking about weird. We should have talked about this back when we were talking about like all the weird children characters that all like the Spider-Man villains had. But Ultron, he has had like some weird kids. So first off,
Oh yeah.
there was Vision, who was he was built off the body of Jim Hammond, the original Human Torch, who was a robot and made during like the 40s, and he had the brain patterns of Wonder Man, and everyone knows Vision. He's
Oh
like,
yeah, no, Vision's origin is just odd.
yeah. So like his whole thing is like, he Ultron was like, hey, I'm gonna build a son, and he's gonna be like super awesome, and he's gonna help me fight. Well, the thing is, Vision's kind of stupid, because why didn't he just make it so, like, program Vision so that Vision listened to him? Why did he give Vision free will?
I mean, Ultron is I don't want to say he's a bad character. I just think he's poorly written.
Yeah, no. And then, so going deeper into the rabbit hole, there's Jocasta, who is Ultron got horny and decided he wanted to build himself a wife. So there's this, just imagine Ultron but with like a female face and boobs.
Yeah, but isn't there like an alternate universe Jocasta who was like technically his sister, and then oh wait, no, that was Vision's sister, but then they got into like a relationship due to some multiverse shenanigans, and it was so odd.
I think in that case though, it's like not as weird because they're robots. But like
but they still call themselves father.
Oh yeah.
And stuff. I just think that's kind of weird.
Even with Ultron, that's weird because he, by definition, he is the father of Jocasta, and he's like, wanted to not marry her, but he just was like, oh, I want a wife, and Ultron got lonely. And then probably my favorite of Ultron-related character that's hilarious. He was from this like really awful Avengers story. It was Avengers AI, and it was the entire plot. There was this group of smart Avengers related characters. There was like Hank Pym, a couple SHIELD agents. There was literally just like a Doombot who had been reprogrammed to like be good, and he was on the team. But then there was a guy named Victor Mancha or something. And his whole deal
my favorite character.
He is the biological son of Ultron.
What?
Yeah, so Ultron he has a human mom, and Ultron is his biological father.
Oh man, who knew that Ultron could get it?
So there's like two implications this has. Either A, Hank Pym built Ultron with reproductive capabilities. Or B,
my god.
Ultron decided to modify himself and give himself reproductive capabilities. Now, jokes aside, I think, if I recall... What?
It's just like, it's so absurd. What were they thinking?
I think like the way they explain it is like he injected nanites into like his mother's, like it's basically just the same way a biological child is born, but instead of sperm cells it's like nanites.
Robo sperm.
But then it's just, it's so weird.
Ooh, dude, I love nanites.
It is so strange. And then, okay, we haven't really touched about it at all. This is another thing that I think could be its own episode. Golden Age superheroes from like the 40s and stuff. They had some really weird origin stories. Like, if we're talking...
They did.
The original Green Lantern, Alan Scott, he was just a guy with a magic ring that shot green lasers. But for some reason, he was weak to wood.
Oh, he was weak. He was. Oh, dude, that's so... Oh, my God.
I don't think they ever elaborate on why he was weak to wood. Because, like, eventually, like, it was kind of like Hal Jordan.
He just was.
When Hal Jordan came and, like, I think it was, like, DC Comics, like, presents like 5 or 6 or something.
Yeah.
He was he was weak to the color yellow, but like eventually they retconned that, and it was because Parallax was living in the central power battery, and because of that, like whenever they would look at the color yellow, they would get afraid. Well, compare that to Alan Scott, and he's not even like part of the actual Green Lantern Corps. He just has a green ring that just also so happens to be charged by a green battery that's shaped like a lantern. So it's like a super weird coincidence. I mean, but he's weak to wood for no real reason.
Yeah, that's just it's just weird that they never explain it.
And then there's
I
another.
feel like that's something that deserves explanation.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And then like 15 years later, we're moving into more like the Silver Age than the Golden Age. We have Elongated Man. Now, Elongated Man is like an original member of the Justice League, but he's like one of the least known members. Like him, Zatanna, and Firestorm are
Yeah.
like the three like original members of the league that like no one really knows. We'll talk about Firestorm next because I don't know how we haven't mentioned him in like our whole in a episode about weird origin stories. But
I agree.
but literally Elongated Man, he's just DC's Mr. Fantastic, but he came first. He got his stretchy powers from drinking a weird juice that like a Native American gave him. And it's just like
So it's like that one.
What'd you say? You cut out.
It's like that one Homer fucking drink
He just drank juice and he got stretchy
some
powers.
magic juice in the 70s.
The magic juice. And like I'm sure they changed it
Oh,
when
man.
when they rebooted stuff in New 52. But like that's like I don't even know how you can improve on that. That is just such an out of left field origin for like such a weird power set.
I think it works because it's so absurd.
Like, okay, compare that to the origin for Plastic Man. Like, Plastic Man fell into like a vat of like chemicals, and there was like rubber, and so like his body bonded with the rubber. That makes sense. But so like it it has a clear tie to like
Yeah.
what his powers are. So if we did this in reverse, if I told you like the origin of the character, and you had to guess what their powers were based on the origin story. So like I would say, there's a guy that can discover, like he discovers particles that cause him to grow and shrink. What's his superpower? He can grow and shrink. There's a guy that falls into a vat of like chemicals and like rubber. What does he do? His body becomes plastic pretty much. But if I told you this guy drank a weird magic juice potion that a weird Native American shaman gave him, there was like you would never guess that he has stretchy powers.
I mean, I think I would guess it at like the 50th the try, you
Well, I
know.
mean, yeah, like you would just go down the list, like like flight, super strength. You just go down the list of like powers. Eventually, you'd get it, but like, there's just no correlation between Elongated Man's powers and his origin.
He is just so out of the loop.
Uh huh. Have you thought of any other characters that you want to talk about?
I mean, not really. I'm at this point. I'm just here talking. You're just going from different heroes to hero and
You're just
sharing my insight.
yeah. All right. So then, like,
I'm here for the ride.
you know what? That's fine. That's fine. So let's go into Firestorm now. Firestorm is one of my favorite
Yep.
DC characters, just because of like, I don't know. I just really like him. He's So first off, with the name Firestorm, you'd think his powers are just like he shoots fire and stuff, but like, it's not. Like he has the ability to like control radiation and like alter stuff on the molecular level. It's just such a weird power set. Um,
It, yeah.
but so Firestorm's origin, what he does is there was a high schooler named Ronnie Raymond and a physics professor named Jason Rush, and they were Jason Rush was doing some like experiment in a nuclear reactor with a thing called the Firestorm matrix, and it went wrong, and like for some reason Professor Stein was asleep while this thing was happening. So him and Ronnie
As you
Raymond
can be.
get merged together into one guy, except it's Ronnie Raymond is like the only one in the body. It's not like a fusion of the two bodies. He's just Ronnie Raymond's body, but Professor Stein is just a voice living in his head. And it's just two guys that are fused into one guy. It's literally just like they did the Dragon Ball Z fusion dance. It's just
One guy got top billing and the other guy just.
yeah, and he just like got just why would you want to have the short end of the stick and be the guy that's just the voice in the head? Honestly,
I mean, it'd be interesting to say the least.
yeah, but
I need to read up on Fire. A whole lot about the character.
I would definitely recommend it. If you want to like get into him, I would say read like he was introduced in a limited time series. It was called Firestorm: The Nuclear Man. It got canceled after 5 issues due to poor sales.
Oh my god!
But then like a year or
I
two,
could have saved him.
yeah, but then like a year or two later, they brought him back in a series called The Fury of Firestorm, and for some reason, it sold like 1,000,000 times better, and so it went on for like 100 issues. And like that's like during the time that he joined the Justice League, and that's like where all of his villains come from, like Killer Frost and the Multiplex. It's
Oh, yeah, multiplex. That's an odd guy. That's
he's just he's multiple man, but he's DC's multiple man.
yeah. I like multiplex better because his design looks cooler.
Yeah, he's got like the weird purple thing. Like just his costume's like purple and it's cool.
For real.
But yeah, no, it's Firestorm is just kind of he's just kind of weird. You almost want to know like what they were thinking when they got the idea. So it's like, well, there's two guys, but they're one guy, and they can control radiation.
And one of them's inside the head. And
yeah,
can't Firestorm create kryptonite? I think that's cool.
But it's you know what it's almost like? It's almost like the guy who wrote Firestorm just had like voices in his head, and he wanted a superhero who represented his group of insane people.
Oh my god!
It's yeah. But
So how do we finish this thing? Like what origin story is just gonna top everything else?
I think if we really want to go out with a bang, we have to come up with like something ridiculous, like some off the wall origin story that is just so weird. And I'm just going through characters in my head, and I'm just trying to think of like who could apply to that, because I'm gonna
look up wackiest character.
The wackiest character. Alright, well, while you're doing that, I'm gonna try to think of someone, because like I'm just going through like characters that people would know, but like not necessarily their origin.
Yeah. They have to have an interesting origin. Like even if the character's wacky, if they're just they got in a car accident or some shit, that's not gonna be fun to talk about.
As much as I love the X-Men, I feel like a lot of their backstories are just boring because they all just have their powers because they're mutants. The most interesting part of the X-Men's backstory is like what they were doing before they were part of the X-Men. So like Colossus's sister, for example, she has the mutant ability to teleport, but like when it first happened, she just got like teleported to like a parallel dimension where she was basically held captive by Satan for like 7 years, but like when she teleported back, it was like like only 2 seconds in the main Marvel universe had gone by. So she literally like aged 7 years in 2 seconds, and when she came back, she was like she had like a giant sword, and she was like had a metal arm.
Oh. Well, you were talking about mutants. I remembered Bouncing Boy, and his origin is fucking amazing.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so Bouncing Boy was an ordinary kid, like he's just very, very ordinary. Nothing extraordinary happens in his life, as the comic puts it. So while he was performing as a courier in Metropolis, he accidentally drank a mysterious serum that he thought was soda.
Just elongated, man.
Exactly.
What is it with DC and these weird serums?
And the thing is, the serum could pretty much be the same one that Elongated Man drank, because it made it so his body was made of fucking nut, with plastic, pretty much.
I think I just remembered this because Bouncing Boy reminded me of like Blimp Boy. I think that an interesting episode would be to go over like what the Legion of Superheroes, the DC team, because they are like the trash bin for awful DC characters. Like they literally like the Legion of Superheroes accepts anyone, and it's ridiculous. Like they had Arm Fall Off Boy in there for a little while.
Oh, I love Arm Fall Off Boy.
Yeah, it's yeah. I'm trying to think of like big like villains that have wacky backstories.
Villains normally have like pretty tragic backstories.
Yeah, like I was trying to think of a Batman villain, but like all of Batman's villains are like pretty grounded. Like, yeah, like I can't really think of anyone that is out there.
I mean, I guess Man-Bat is pretty out there, but he's just a guy who's a bat.
Yeah, he was just he didn't want to be deaf, so he was like, well, what if I put bat DNA into my bloodstream? And I don't know if you've ever seen this, but it's literally just that one clip from Teen Titans Go where like Robin's trying to get superpowers, and he's like, I'm gonna merge my DNA with a Robin so I can get Robin powers. And he just turns into like this horrible like eldritch creation of like it's disgusting.
I remember that. It was so. I think the ending of that episode was him learning that having superpowers was a burden.
Yeah, like he solves all the world's problems, and the end of the episode is just him dying.
He's like, I wasted my life.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
Yeah. Oh, it's so weird. But I'm just like I don't know if I can think of like another super interesting one that hasn't been talked about to death before.
Yeah, we've been here for 2 hours. I think it's good. I think it's good enough to just call it off.
I think so too. But yeah.
Next time we're gonna be talking about the Batman Who Laughs.
No, we're not gonna be talking about if I just sat down and talked about my issues with Dark Knight's Metal, we would be here forever.
That'd make an interesting podcast, that's for sure.
Put it on the list. But,
yep.
Yeah, no, it was, if you guys, are enjoying this, be sure to let us know, because, we're probably going to keep doing this. We have a lot of different topics for, future, things.
Yeah, and eventually we'll find out if Superman could be Batman.
Well, we still got 99 more episodes to go.
Yeah. I mean, I think eventually I'll come around, but not today.
Are you Team Superman or Team Batman?
I think for the sake of the joke to work, I'll be Team Superman. I mean, Batman.
I was about to say, because I'm Team Superman. If that's the case, it'll just be 2 hours of us agreeing as to how Superman just destroys Batman.
Maybe we should change it to Superman versus Goku.
Oh, people would get... Well, okay, I think people would get less mad about that than, Superman versus Batman, honestly.
Okay, well, if we want to piss off as many people, let's just keep it as Batman versus Superman.
Then we'll end it with, thing like Martian Manhunter could destroy Batman. Because
exactly.
Martian Manhunter underrated. Oh, let's end it on him. Martian Manhunter's original origin story is insane. I'm so
Oh yeah.
Okay, so Martian Manhunter is a founding member of the Justice League. He was like one of the original people that fought Starro in Brave and the Bold issue 28. It was him, Aquaman, Green Lantern, Flash, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. And his whole origin story is he was a Martian just living his life on Mars, and just some scientist invented a teleporter, and just for some reason it randomly teleported Martian Manhunter back to Earth. And the scientist was like, "Hey, my bad, dude. I can teleport you back if you want." And Martian Manhunter's like, "No, I think I'll just stay here." And he's literally just called Martian Manhunter because he's a Martian detective. And I don't know. I just think that's kind of weird. You just imagine if you just got teleported to Mars one day, and they were like, "Oh, hey, I can send you back if you want." And you're like, "Nah, I'll stay here."
Honestly, I think Mars is pretty cool. I've never visited a different planet before.
I literally know, for all I know, like all these people here could be like mass murderers who want to kill me. But let's rock with it.
It's something different.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like they say.
What if he was going through a midlife crisis?
I bet he was just like Martian Manhunter. He was the least popular Martian, and so he's like, "Well, I'm sure I can have at least one friend on Earth."
Oh man.
Oh, Martian Manhunter, underrated man.
I don't even. He's an underrated Martian too.
Top 10 Martians. Doesn't even make it to the top 10. Number 1, it's the hot one from Young Justice.
Number 10 is the Martian from Invincible.
Then, like, number 9, it's the Martian from that movie with the guy stuck on Mars. Number 8, it's Martian Manhunter. No, not Martian Manhunter. Marvin the Martian. That's what I meant to say.
Yes.
Number 9, not number 9. Number 7, Jiren from Dragon Ball Z.
Number 6 through 4 is like the Martians from Martians in My Attic.
And then number 3 is the alien from Mars Needs Moms. Then number 2 is like the white Martians from DC Comics. Martian Manhunter doesn't even make the top 10. Imagine getting beat up by the Mars Needs Moms and aliens in My Attic. That's some slander, honestly.
I think he deserves number 11. He's just kind of too Martian-y for my taste.
He's too green. Even though, like, literally 80% of the list are green aliens.
I mean, number 2 is the white one.
Yeah, but number 1 is Miss Martian, who's just girl
Miss Martian's a woman.
Oh, yeah, so she gets the brownie points.
Oh man!
But with that out of the way, I think we're gonna go ahead and end this session off. It was. Did you have fun?
Yeah, I had so much fun. Can you put down the gun right next to my head, please?
Well, no. Let's finish off the podcast first. If anyone's hearing that, it's a joke. We recorded this on April 1st.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, buddy.
Yeah. It's a joke, guys. April 1st.
Yeah, see, that's why Martian Manhunter didn't make the top 10 Martians. But yeah, if you have any ideas for future discussions, be sure to let us know. And yeah, I think this has been a pretty successful first episode of the podcast.
Yeah, especially because I was in it.
Yeah, well, we can't all be winners.
Huh?
Well, without further ado, we're going to end this off here. So thank you all.
Wait, what did you mean by that?
And
what?
We will see you all in the next episode.
No, what?